Hello. Armenia is now about to enter the pre-election months amidst intensifying political confrontation between the incumbent Prime Minister and his detractors. Nikol Pashinyan himself has framed the coming word in stark terms as a choice between peace with Azerbaijan or renewed confrontation with that very country should his opponents come to power. And these elections are undoubtedly geopolitical. The recently announced European Union partnership mission in Armenia carries an explicit mandate linked in part to addressing what is described as the Russian hybrid threat, adding yet another layer of consequence to the months ahead. You're watching Context. I'm Orkan Armashov here, and joining me now in the studio is Ahmed Ali, Director of the Caucasus Policy Analysis Center. Ahmed, welcome to Context.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Lovely seeing you. A lot has happened since our last conversation. What is your evaluation of the current moment in Azerbaijani-Armenian peace process? Basically, peace treaty was initialed last month. Armenian elections are incredibly important on the 7th of June. Iran war still underway with its implications for the trip connectivity agenda they plan. And Azerbaijan and Russia seems to have normalized their relations in a sense, with the latest settlement deal being attained. And Armenian-Russian relations are not perfect. But that's sort of a key element of the wider landscape.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is your evaluation? What's happening?
Yeah, I would agree with all the points that you raised, but I would add several points that there are several positive things taking place between Armenia and Azerbaijan that we are not talking about that in a way that it requires to be discussed. One of the issues is that you can see that how Armenian and Azerbaijan's leadership strategic vision gets aligned. It's very much aligned, and they sometimes even copy-paste each other, I would say. And I would say that there is quite many critics of the Prime Minister Pashinyan in Armenia who criticize that he speaks like President Aliyev. In a sense, they don't criticize it, but from a regional perspective, it's a very good thing to see that Baku and Yerevan, their visions on the future of the region is very aligned. And we have seen what happened between Georgia and Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan president visited Georgia, and the meeting basically quite all important people in Georgia.
Yeah, all of them.
Yes, all of them.
Including the one.
Yes. So this is very much, it shows that Tbilisi and Baku also, they understand each other at a deeper level. So it shows that both, it's not only Baku and Yerevan, but also Tbilisi. Now they share very same vision about the future of the region, how to move forward. And we have seen that President Aliyev and Azerbaijan representatives participation on Tallinn Diplomatic Forum. The messages that they sent to the wider audience, you would see that there is a very positive developments in this regional integration project. And in this context, when I say regional integration, I automatically also mean Armenia-Azerbaijan peace process, because those two issues in this context, they are going hand by hand. This is absolutely, we cannot separate these two issues. And the second issue that I believe that we are not talking very much, but we should, is about the growing sentiments, growing positive sentiments about Prime Minister Pashinyan in Azerbaijan and about President Aliyev in Armenia. We have seen recently how Prime Minister Pashinyan became a very popular figure in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan social media is full of his videos also, and Azerbaijan's users, they are following his speeches at the Armenian parliament on various occasions. Basically, he is saying to the Armenian population what Azerbaijan is like, that it would like to see for at least for the last 30 years. So it is there, and I believe it's very important. And also President Aliyev, sometimes his strong rhetoric toward foreign leaders, that strong leadership image, that is quite attractive in Armenia. You can see that even the opposition figures, they are creating their the blocks, and they are naming it Stronger Armenia. So the message is that Armenia is weaker now, they have to make it a bit stronger. And in this context, you can see that President Aliyev's performance is very attractive. So you can sense how the popularity of Prime Minister Pashinyan is growing in Azerbaijan, and the popularity of President Aliyev is growing in Armenia, which is extremely good thing in this context. So taking all of those issues that you said, and that those 2 points that I had just to say, we can say that the peace process, it is like the results of that, what Armenia and Azerbaijan achieved in the at least last 3 years. It's something that should be appreciated. It's something that should be advertised. It's a new case. Armenia and Azerbaijan, they demonstrate how to resolve conflict in a geopoliticized world, which is very important. It is the very first case right? So we can, from a standard peace building perspective, there is a very large number of the literature about the positive peace, why all the elements of the society should be engaged, and this is all stands true. Nobody denies them. In the context of the geopoliticized world order, we see that those old rules, they don't work all the time. Now Baku and Yerevan, they showed that even in this context you can do that. So this is the state of peace deal, peace process, sorry, in this context. But at the same time, you sense that both Baku and Yerevan, they are in a mode, they would love to see results of the Armenian elections. That's going to be very important.
We'll come to Armenia elections, indeed, Ahmad. Regarding the peace-building effort, just one very brief question. Part of the Peace Bridge Initiative, I was in Kampala, was part of the Azerbaijan delegation welcoming Armenian friends, including Arek Kochinyan and many others, Boris Novosadian as well, whom you know incredibly well. Caucasus Policy Analysis Center has been doing an absolutely fantastic job over the past years. I've been part of many of the meetings that you organize yourself. Peace agenda, it's a Peace Bridge Initiative, is inextricably connected with the 8th of August breakthrough. It's sort of an extension, sort of civil society, media extension of that wider interstate process happening between Azerbaijan and Armenia. To what extent this sensibility that all the analysts attending that meeting subscribe to the 8th of August breakthrough fundamentals, peace, territorial integrity, connectivity and so forth. Does it extend to other peace-building initiatives that you are familiar with and you are attending us? Because I know you're going to be in the United Kingdom very soon, probably.
Yes.
To what extent the same spirit entrenched in the 8th of August breakthrough is transferable to other peace-building initiatives?
I believe that Azerbaijani-Armenian peace process is well-studied peace process right now. We can see that there is a significant attention to the region, especially it's not only peace process, but overall South Caucasus is getting quite a lot of attention these days. We always presented ourselves as like the one big corridor, and in the context of what is happening in the Strait of Hormuz, you would see that land bridges, they are gaining more importance in the eyes of the many people, and as a result we see that there is a quite increased attention from European Union, United States to the region. So in this context, the region that can present itself as peaceful place, area where everybody can cooperate, and the region that can ensure the safety of those geopolitical, geoeconomic projects that external actors are willing to implement here. It's very important, and we are seeing that in this context what Armenian and Azerbaijani expert committee representatives, civil society representatives are doing, especially Peace Bridge Initiative. In this context, it sends a message that Armenia and Azerbaijan, they as I mentioned earlier, they have aligned vision. It's very similar to what had Baltic countries right after the fall of the Soviet Union. They worked very closely with each other to become members of the several international initiatives, including European Union and NATO. And also, we can also mention Benelux countries at some point. So there is the new, let's say, trio is emerging in international relations area where and now we definitely can talk about the Baku and Yerevan, but again after the President Aliyev's visit to Georgia, we can talk about the trio.
That was a state visit, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that context, we are seeing South Caucasus moving beyond Armenia-Azerbaijan peace process, but everybody understands that the peace process is very much important element of that. But there is a question like that, should we wait for the Armenia-Azerbaijan to conclude their peace process and then start working with them? That's the question everybody's asking. But frankly speaking, everybody understands that now, it's time to act now. If not now,
we have a limited economic interaction, Azerbaijan and Armenia. The trade turnover figure is present. I can't remember the exact figure. Of course, there is a need for Armenia to export certain products to Azerbaijan, which probably hasn't happened yet. It's almost Azerbaijan acting as a trading country. All those things, of course, are very important. But let's talk about the elections.
Yes.
7th of June election. Armenia's internal affair, but with massive implications for the wider region, Azerbaijani-Armenian peace process. You mentioned it's a very geopolitical election, and I think when President Putin received Prime Minister Pashinyan in Moscow in early April, he implicitly referred to Mr. Karapetyan, saying that there are certain individuals in Armenia who couldn't take part in the election. We're concerned about it. And Prime Minister Pashinyan reacted to it. President Putin reminded Prime Minister Pashinyan and everybody else of the 6th of October Prague Declaration, expressing his reservations and retrospective concerns again. And recently, European Union announced and effectively launched what they call EU Partnership Mission in Armenia, which will be operating for 2 years. And Russian hybrid threat is clearly mentioned in the mandate. What do you make of all of the things?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that after at least Moldova, everybody was expecting like that the new confrontation field is going to be arena is going to be Armenia. And I believe that Armenia, being a still member country, being basically part of the all Russia-initiated economic and military international initiatives. So in that sense, like that, election results in Armenia is very important. And in the
do you think that mandate, Russia hybrid threat, is very provoking? That's been a topic on the agenda for a very long time. So I mean, so this is very much that fits to the European understanding of the developments in the region, and I believe that this is the from European Union perspective right tool to use. So that is why I believe that it's justified in that sense. But at the same time, you know, the things are taking place in our region. Well, for example, well, it's not like that. Let's say Russia-Georgia relations. Is it strictly Russian-Georgian relations? Russia-Armenian relations? Is it strictly Russia-Armenian relations? Georgian, US, Georgian, European Union relations? Arek Kochinyan, when I interviewed him together with you on Caucasus, I said that nothing in this life is bilateral.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it means that we are transforming into a region when this external actors' relations with the members of the South Caucasus possible union, it can influence all of us. Yes. Azerbaijan relation with Central Asian nations, it's clear that it's going to influence the foreign policy relations, trade relations with Armenia and Georgia also. Sure. And then
Armenia, Kazakhstan bilateral trade cannot be examined without Azerbaijan being taken into account.
Absolutely. So that is, in that sense, what we are witnessing, that your question about like the hybrid threat, etc. It's not just from European Union perspective. It's important to have sort of from Azerbaijan perspective also. Like we want from Azerbaijan perspective, we want political powers willing and working for peace with Azerbaijan to be to have upper hand in these processes.
If you remember, Ahmad, the mission, the border mission, which is a European Union monitoring mission in Armenia, stationed alongside the border, but on the Armenian side, was hugely criticized in Azerbaijan.
Absolutely.
That mission, according to the text, one of the clauses of the initial peace agreement, which is yet to be signed and ratified, will need to withdraw. Some Armenian commentators have said that that particular mission will move inside the country. I imagine it could merge with the European Union partnership mission, which is a 2-year mission. What do you think Azerbaijan's view, or what will be Azerbaijan's view regarding this mission? It is explicitly about Russia, but also it talks about external threat in general. Will Azerbaijan be content with this mission? Kaya has made very clear that everything should be communicated to Baku, and it shouldn't damage Azerbaijan Armenian peace process.
Absolutely. So this is very important. Absolutely, like your question had the answers to those issues. Like, can it, like that? There's a 2 issue like that, replacing UMA mission in Armenia, which create a lot of problem for President Michel's mission in those years. Also, like that, there is a 2 issue like that: how to take this mission out, but not to leave Armenia without European Union assistance, right? So gradually, I believe that if this mission is going to be there in Armenia, so UMA mission gradually fading away will not create in Armenia a vacuum of the European assistance. But it's very important from Azerbaijan perspective that what the European Union, what kind of assistance provided, Azerbaijan is informed about that. Azerbaijan has sometimes has a say on it, because it kind of helps Azerbaijan and Armenia to coordinate their efforts also. But Azerbaijan never ever was any contacts with like the foreign actors contacting with anyone, right? Azerbaijan believes that it's right, it's sovereign right to establish contact with anyone.
Yeah.
So sometimes there are bigger neighbors in our region. They want us to regulate Azerbaijan's relations with other foreign powers, right? So Azerbaijan is against that. So Azerbaijan is for the full sovereignty for Georgia and Armenia. In this context, and especially after the military conflict with Armenia, the issue was that mission, UMA mission, is it empowering Armenia in a way that revanchist forces can see it as a, like the source of empowerment, so they can take a decision against Azerbaijan. So Azerbaijan criticism was against that. It is empowering.
It shouldn't damage a peace process. It shouldn't empower revenge-driven elements there.
So that is what, like, from Azerbaijan perspective, like
basically, if this mission or entire EU approach regarding Armenia is helpful from Pashinyan's perspective in terms of his victory in the upcoming elections, Azerbaijan should, by definition, be happy, because although this is Armenia's internal affair, Azerbaijan is naturally expected to be interested in Pashinyan's victory, because with Pashinyan, the peace process will continue.
Azerbaijan is not interested in anyone's victory. Azerbaijan is interested in the victory of a political party power that is interested in peace with Azerbaijan.
And that party happens to be a civil contract party.
At the time, yes.
So that's fundamental logic. We're not about Pashinyan, it's about peace.
Yeah. Absolutely. But the point is that it's not supporting any person. It's supporting, like, if there is a new group of the people who are willing to, I don't know, from Pashinyan's party, there can be certain people like they believing that they should have their own party. But if they lobby for peace with Azerbaijan, I believe that Azerbaijan can be equally welcoming that.
There's so many things I would like to discuss with you, Ahmed. I know that our time is incredibly limited. Perhaps what I'm interested about particularly is the Turkish-Armenian normalization, the impact of this process on our Turkish-Armenian normalization. You mentioned earlier Anti-Diplomacy Forum.
Yes.
Armenia was represented at the level of Deputy Foreign Minister. Arat Mirzayan was not there, and he was being asked by journalists, presumably by local journalists, said that, well, I'm always attending this conference, and then what's the point of attending now? I'm very busy, something important going to happen in early June. And then we heard from Alen Simonyan, Speaker of the Parliament, saying that Azerbaijan conducts its own peace process with Armenia, but it doesn't let Armenia and Turkey normalize their relations. There seems to be sort of a publicly expressed dissatisfaction, a degree of disgruntlement upon the part of Armenian politicians and leadership regarding Azerbaijan's influence on the Turkish-Armenian normalization. Do you think we should read much into this sort of rhetoric?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say like that, and one of the reasons why Pashinyan or his close associates do not attend, well, it's related to elections, of course, but also in a pre-election period, they didn't want to have a certain type of the publicity. In the past, we have seen that his meetings with President Erdogan and having even his book, what kind of publicity Armenian opposition wanted to.
So, there are so many issues, Ahmed, I would like to discuss with you. Our time incredibly limited. One of those subjects that I would like to discuss with you is concerning the Turkish-Armenian normalization. We all understand Azerbaijan-Armenian peace process is inextricably connected with the normalization between Ankara and Yerevan. Recently, we have seen a degree of frustration expressed by Armenian politicians. First of all, you mentioned Armenia Anti-Diplomacy Forum just a few minutes ago. Armenia was represented there at the level of Deputy Foreign Minister. Arat Mirzayan was not there. When he was asked by journalists why you were not attending this particular forum, he said that, well, I've been attending this forum since 2022. And so some important things are happening in my country in early June in reference to the elections. So downplaying importance of Anti-Diplomacy Forum, this is one moment. Also, the Speaker of Armenian Parliament, Alen Simonyan, somewhat criticized Azerbaijan by means of, effectively said that Azerbaijan is conducting its own peace process with Armenia, but is not letting Armenia normalize its relations with Turkey. This seems to be very publicly visible element of disgruntlement on the part of Armenian leadership regarding Turkish-Armenian normalization. Is it about pre-election rhetoric?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or is it something more than that?
I believe what the Prime Minister Pashinyan's team they are doing, they want to public see themselves as the most competent group of people who can have a deal with Azerbaijan and Turkey. So that is the message, that if not them, there will be a war, because whoever is coming to wants to replace them, if they don't have an adequate level of the relations with Azerbaijan, in the future it might lead to the military action. That is what they are saying that. But at the same time, yeah, they would love to see, they want to show that they are quite competent doing business with Turkey, but there is a certain problem.
They would love to see, Armenians, I would love to see Turkish-Armenian normalization happen before the signing of the peace deal. We all understand that.
I can even say that they want Armenia-Azerbaijan peace process because they believe that that's going to lead to certain results.
So the main motivation for the Armenian side to be interested in Azerbaijani-Armenian peace deal, in addition to the actual fact of peace with Azerbaijan, it's also actually fundamentally about Turkish-Armenian normalization.
Absolutely. So that's in very short. If you're putting it very short, yes, that's it.
Well, that's very interesting. Incredibly interesting moment. Of course, a couple of more questions, Ahmad, regarding the implementation of Trump route for international peace and prosperity. President Aliyev expressed his confidence. He said that connectivity project will be properly implemented. Armenian side is committed to the project as well, but we haven't seen much construction there, to be absolutely honest. And some interesting ideas have been floating in an Armenian media landscape, also within the circles of think tanks. One idea was that, well, because it's happening now, I mean, conflict in Iran is unfolding, there's an element of risk coming from Iran. Perhaps we could move Trump route for international peace and prosperity connectivity link to up northward, but that wouldn't be Zangezur corridor idea, which Azerbaijan had been advocating for. Number two suggestion I heard in Armenian media is about actually, in order to limit the extent of Iranian threat and make it less sort of worthy of attacking from the perspective of Tehran, to open other connectivity links, Iran, Kazakh and so forth, and diminish the element of risk. All of the things cumulatively, according to my reading, seems to suggest that let us start working on some other things, and exclusivity of this route is being sort of diminished. I mean, that's my understanding, and there are certain limitations to the way I understand it. What is your understanding?
No, absolutely. I would say that the idea that they should change the actual route of the trip, this is not a new idea. From time to time, I mean, colleagues would suggest something like that. But Azerbaijan prefers the shortest link. Connecting mainland Azerbaijan to Nakhchivan, and that appears to be this link. And also, we know that in some
altitude is very important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We can use all of that routes. Azerbaijan is not against not using other routes. All routes can be used, but the first route that should be established, it's Zangezur or Trip route, or the route with many names, right?
Yes, with no territorial pretension, but
absolutely. So in this context, I would say that well, this means that Azerbaijan wants to see this route functioning, and Azerbaijan understands the limitation of the Armenia and to a certain extent Armenian sovereignty, because Armenian railroads are not owned by, fully owned by Armenia.
That's another fascinating subject, the transfer of ownership.
Absolutely. So it's so like that. This is when it is passes the same route that it was during the Soviet times. It means that there will be, during the Soviet time, the status of that route was not same with the others, like that more part of the Azerbaijan railway systems, which allows Azerbaijan and Armenia to implement this route.
During the Soviet age, was that route connecting Azerbaijan's two parts where Armenian Soviet Socialist Republic, Mehri route basically, had links to other elements of Armenia's railway, or was it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's from Nakhchivan, it would go to Iran and then to Armenia. And
it has been suggested on a number of occasions that the best way to connect southern Armenia, the Mehri territory, with the rest of Armenia would not be through Armenia but through Nakhchivan.
Absolutely. Well, Soviet Union designed it in a way that the route is the route closest to the Iranian border also. You know, we believe that in Iran there are people who believe that this railway functioning, it's also threat to Iranian security. There are people who believe that Soviets designed the route in a way that any claims to the northern Iran can be realized by this route. So this is also the issue. But also this is the only route passing through plain territories alongside Araz River. So as a result, so it can carry much heavier loads. The other routes, they are passing through mountains, and as the many experts explained in the past, when railway passes through mountainous regions, they are losing certain capacity or the load of the cargo. It should not be. So like, if it's too heavy.
That's the reason.
Yes.
Trump route for international peace and prosperity, basically, that Zengezur-Mehri link, Sunik link, is ideal from the perspective of that terrain-related aspect as well.
Azerbaijan wants to see all the routes connecting Azerbaijan and Armenia operating equally, but the very first one among them should be this one. And I believe that this is the principal position of Azerbaijan. Otherwise, there is no problem for the most of this the grain from Kazakhstan, Russia. We still see that Azerbaijan prefers to send them to Armenia via Georgia, but it could be done through the land borders easily in this context. But that Azerbaijan wants to have this position, that principal position, that it should be the first one.
To what extent do you think these people will advocate for House of Caucasus, for the integrated model covering the entire South Caucasus, about EU's latest initiatives, which seems to avoid Georgia altogether? I mean, we discussed this on a number of occasions, of course, but EU Enlargement Commissioner Marta Kos talked about quadrilateral format involving Azerbaijan, Armenia, Turkey and EU. Georgia is not mentioned there. And by referencing to that proposed configuration, Commissioner talked about realities established. So basically, Azerbaijan-Armenian peace, Turkish-Armenian normalization, EU role in that. Georgia seems to be sidelined everywhere. And you talked earlier about President Aliyev's state visit to Georgia, meeting all the three fundamental figures, and about security being one of the key subject matters. What should be Azerbaijani-Armenian point of view, not necessarily a collective view, but separate points of view by these two countries, regarding EU attempts, very visible attempts, as far as one can tell, to limit Georgia in the wider connectivity scheme?
Well, I believe that in this context, it's also a part of the shared vision of Baku and Yerevan that the region should be treated as a whole. So that is why we see that Armenian Prime Minister is lobbying, during his last speech at the European Parliament, he was lobbying for Georgia being part of those initiatives also. He openly was saying, and Azerbaijani politicians, Azerbaijani decision makers also from time to time, they mentioned this issue in various formats, that the Georgian presence in these issues, in this project is very important. But at the same time, we are witnessing that there are certain positive developments in Washington-Georgia relations, with the U.S. State Secretary's call to Georgia a few weeks ago, and the developments taking place after that. It catches attention of many people, and the special Azerbaijani president visiting Georgia after that. So it's also can be seen as connected to.
Interesting enough, Ahmed, although as I understand, all the state visits are organized in advance, few months before, but interestingly enough, if memory serves me correctly, on the basis of publicly available information, that state visit by President Aliyev to Georgia was his first foreign engagement after the 5th of March Nakhchivan drone attack.
Yeah,
first visit to Tbilisi, it means a lot.
Absolutely. So, I mean, in this context, this Nakhchivan attack was quite interesting case when Azerbaijan could prove everyone that Azerbaijan can provide security for those projects existing in the territory of Azerbaijan and the South Caucasus overall. And in this context, what's happening in Georgia-Washington relations, it can be seen as part of a bigger whole picture.
Ahmed Ali, lead director of the Caucasus Policy Analysis Center. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, a great deal is happening in Armenia and beyond Armenia, across the wider South Caucasus. The early weeks of May may prove particularly eventful, and will indeed prove particularly eventful, with implications not only for Armenia itself, but for the region as a whole. The 8th summit of APC will be taking place, EU-Armenia summit. President of France, Emmanuel Macron, is set to visit this country, and many other developments will happen. And of course, 7th of June elections will have massive implications, not just for the internal body politics of Armenia, but also for Azerbaijani-Armenian peace process, with certain implications for Armenia's future contacts with Turkey. You've been watching Context. I'm Okan Amashov, and see you very soon indeed.